So good evening, everyone. I'm happy that the attendance we have a lot of people attending tonight. My name is Rida Abdullah, and I am the Community Growth and Outreach Officer at the Talal and Madiha Zain AUB Innovation Park. I'm truly humbled that we're joined this evening by one of the great founders that I've had the privilege to meet lately. In fact, Amer, the CEO at NSAVE, is doing something amazing, especially that he's enabling access to finance to everyone. He's also joined by Marie, who's the Chief of Staff at NSAVE. From the iPark team, I can see now Nahla and Hani, but I'm not sure if the others are here because we have a lot of people attending. So just a quick brief, I'll share maybe a small story about Lebanon. As we all know, that we've faced as a people financial burdens as of 2019 with the financial crisis, with the challenges that came with it. And thought to myself, man, if NSAVE was there back then, it would have saved us a lot of hassle and a lot of trouble. But at least we have NSAVE now, which is always great. And we have the founder here tonight who's going to inspire us. Amer is a great guy. If really I wanted to say something about him, he's that he leads with empathy, which is amazing. And I'll leave the room to you. He's going to share his story about how he built his team to success and sharing some insights from the VC point of view, how he raised the funds, so on and so forth. Amr, the floor is yours. We're going to have a formal chat, I know, but I'll leave the floor to you to start, to kick it off.
I really appreciate it, Rida, and thank you so much for the kind words. It's very nice to see so many people. It's a pleasure, also an honor to be sharing part of our story with you. So thank you so much for having us and giving us the space as well. I can relate so much, Rida, on what happened in Lebanon. My family's money as well, extended and close, it got stuck as well. A lot of lollers, and I'm sure all of you know what are the lollers, right? And the story of NSAVE is really inspired by not only that experience, but a series of experiences that I've lived through personally, and people around me and my close family and friends as well, both in Lebanon, but also outside Lebanon, whether it's in Syria or in other countries. The story of Lebanon is also, as sad as that might sound, is not very unique. Globally, there are a lot of countries that go through similar crises where, you have hyperinflation, local banking is not very stable, currency is falling, people's life savings get evaporated. And that's the story for people who are in Argentina as well, very, very similarly, just several years before what happened in Lebanon. And if you project it on other countries as well, to a varying degree, it could go from just an economic problem to actually war, and financial institutions collapsing in extreme cases, for example, like Syria, which is similar to a very large degree. So what happened? What happened to the people? What happened to the average person who doesn't have much, have worked very hard, like my family, saved a bit of money, and then crisis hit, they lose their life savings. Everything you worked hard for evaporates in a matter of days, sometimes weeks. You go, my experience has been, since I left home, was everywhere I went, also opening a bank account abroad in a safer place is very difficult. It's not a straightforward process. If you want to put your money somewhere safe to hedge it from inflation, but also access, global banking, be able to transact freely, be able to purchase stuff, make sure that whatever you worked hard on is there, is a very difficult task for the population and people who come from these, we call them distressed economies, where inflation is high and local banking is tough. So I've lived through that firsthand, struggled accessing safe banking myself, seen the impact on my family. But one instance I will never forget is in my search for a safe place to keep my funds, Swiss private banks were available. So Swiss private banks had no issue, opening an account for me. They had no problem of me not living in Switzerland. They had no problem of, coming from whatever country I was coming from. My barrier was the minimum deposit for them. Did I have a minimum deposit? Back then was $1 million. Today it's a bit
I
more.
wanted to say that.
Only $1 million. Like, let me get it clear, easy, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Right. So $1 million, and then, your savings, your life savings are protected. If you don't have the capital, you're unable to access offshore banking, which is a legal financial tool. And it's not something out of this world. It's actually a very old financial product. You know, it's an old tool. So that kind of lived with me. NSAVE is not my first startup, so I started a bunch of startups on the way. That got me back to study in school. That was kind of my motivation early on, which is an important piece because always like, why you do what you do. So early on, I really wanted to make money so I can go back and educate myself. That was my biggest insecurity. I was uneducated, right? I needed to get that university degree. I was finding it very hard for it, and I wanted to fund myself. So I started a bunch of startups that went really, really well. Last company I co-founded is a machine learning company, hires about 300 people today. I left that one and moved to study in Oxford in the UK. And at that time, life was a bit different for me. I was no longer on survival mode. I was more thinking about what do I want to dedicate my life to? What's like a worthy endeavor to solve? And the problem of not being banked and not being able to access safe banking and not being able to protect my life savings was was an issue that I faced. I think someone needs to mute. Yeah, great. So that was an issue. So in Oxford, I focused my studies on financial regulations, compliance, fiscal policy reform. And I got really obsessed with the idea of offshore banking because there is a solution that is legal that could have helped me and helped my family. And I wondered why no one is democratizing that tool. And that's what NSAVE really tries to do. So build the idea. I remember just developing that conviction. I was like, somebody got to do it. How tough it is to go and like fix that insane problem, which was an exciting opportunity for me because it was two things. It was very, very ambitious in the sense of what type of company you can build, but also it was truly impactful because, the more money you help protect, the more, impact on your good users that you have, on the community that you serve, and also as a business you grow. So that was very clear, good alignment for me from day one. That got me really excited. In Oxford, you can't do, you can't do things on your own. It's impossible. Imagine if it's on the ambition and the scale that we are trying to do. So I obviously, my first thing was I needed a co-founder, particularly building a tech company. I'm not technical, so I
What's your background, Amer, by the way?
I wanted to be a musician, but my parents are from the Middle East. So.
No, I meant like, what's your expertise in? You know what I meant.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah, I stumbled into entrepreneurship not by choice, I guess. I was just like looking for a thing to do. But in
اسم
Oxford,
الوجود هو واحد من أسماء الله الحسنى ومعناه الأكثر حبا أو المحب
Sorry,
بشدة،
sorry,
وده اسم بيعبر عن
sorry.
so spectator got muted. So yeah, background is in Oxford I studied financial regulations, compliance. I did 2 degrees in Oxford, one in governance, one in public policy, both focused on financial regulations in particular. That's kind of my academic background. So I needed the technical co-founder. I thought I would cover, the business aspect, cover the compliance and regulatory aspects, but you need someone to come and join the journey. And I met Abdullah in Oxford. He's a brilliant guy. He's originally from Gaza, from Palestine. He grew up there. Got a scholarship to study in Stanford University. So he studied there, taught there for a bit actually in Stanford, computer science, and then worked at Robinhood and Microsoft in the Bay Area. He got the same scholarship I got to Oxford. So we met there. I told him about the idea. He was like, dude, I'm from Gaza. I know exactly what you're talking about. I had my own experiences also accessing safe banking and accessing financial services, and he's seen his family as well, right? Needing that. So the problem really resonated. And for me and Abdullah also, why I think we really are a good fit together is that alignment on values of the impact of what we want to do. So there was a kind of clarity. This is the problem that we want to solve. We want to get obsessed with the problem, not the solution necessarily. And we want to do it in the right way. So impact is at the heart of this. We want to do it the right way. And also we had the same alignment on the ambition and the type of company that we wanted to build. Whether it's, simple things like it needs to be really design-led. So if you look at the NSAVE app and the experience and how we present things, need to be really good quality. It can't be really poor quality. Or more fundamental things is whenever we're faced with a decision as co-founders, we have to do the right thing. We can't just like keep optimizing for, necessarily unreasonable growth or something that we not necessarily in terms of our values align with. So we want to do the right thing there. So me and him, we really had that click. And we have
Amer, sorry for interrupting. I have a question. When you say about values, what are the values that NSAVE stands for, generally speaking?
Yeah, that is an awesome question. And maybe I'll tell you what I mean by values before I tell you what the values are.
Okay, yeah, it's amazing.
Because I spent a lot of time thinking about the company's values and what do they mean and how to use them. So think of the values of the company as a compass for decision making. You will face a lot of situations. There is no clear rule of what you need to do, right? So you can go in many, many directions because you can't just create rules for everything. Now, these values that you agree on will orient you to make a decision that represents what you stand for. So I'll give you now a concrete example. So one of the values that we have at NSAVE is that we are proud of our work. And we have a definition of that proudness, right? So when you need to make a decision, I'm asking or work on something, I'm asking myself, am I proud of the quality that I'm producing? Am I going to reflect on that decision and be proud that I took this stance? Or am I being a little bit lazy or not thinking enough, not factoring in that moral aspect of my decision, for example? So that's one aspect. We are also a financial inclusion startup. So inclusivity matters a lot to us. So when we're making major decisions, we're factoring that aspect is. So we consider, what's the impact of inclusivity? If we're excluding someone, a segment, a part, do we have a good reason to do that exclusion or are we not being thoughtful? That's another example of what we have. We're really action oriented and we think of the user. So we have a value that's called action with compassion. This means I have empathy to the customer because I know how they feel, right? So I'm always putting them first. And then I need to be action oriented to solve their problems. So I can't just receive, I need to try to be proactive and go after solving the customer problem. And this pays off so beautifully on customer support, like you have no idea. We have users send us hearts and emojis. It's very delightful. But because really, we genuinely do care. And the team that we hire, we also screen for that values, right? So another example of how I use these values, for example, for the company is when I'm recruiting in my interview, we do technical interviews, right? So if you're a software engineer, the team is gonna ask you very tough questions and you do through 2 rounds of, and then we can talk about it, but more on the culture fit side of things. I'm trying to get to what this person has gone through. What are some of the key decisions that they have made through their life? And I'm trying to see, are there some parallels between how they made that decision and the values of the company? Did they care about aspects of this value? And that's how I assess, are they good culture fit? Are they not good culture fit? So that's kind of the detour on the value. I appreciate you asking the question.
Yeah, no, I wanted to hear about it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You were saying about your co-founder, about how you guys met and.
Yeah. So we teamed up. We started working on the idea. Obviously, you can do much until you realize you need more capital to build what you want to do. And in our case, also from day one, we were like, we are gonna go and try to build the bank, right? And you need a lot of capital to go and do that. And so how can you go and build your steps, towards that goal? Initially, we said, okay, we need some funds. We also wanted to be among the best of companies. So given Abdullah's experience, actually, he was like, I think we should apply for Y Combinator. We should, go and try it. So we did apply to Y Combinator. Was a rigorous process, to be honest, because you need to be very sharp, very focused. And then we did the infamous 10 minutes interview of Y Combinator.
Who was the partner that you guys met then?
My partner is Tom Bloomfield. He's the founder of Monzo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. We have a question by the way, from the audience. You want to open the floor now or you just want to get questions at the end?
Yalla, let's make it more of a conversation. I see Dana has a hand.
Dana,
if you wanna throw your question now, maybe I can try to take it.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to ask if it was a challenge, if you got any rejections when you applied to accelerators or incubators when you started, because I know that it's challenging, like to start with something.
It is, and I can tell you 99% of the people that I spoke to initially, especially experts, you know, those who have the expert title next to their name, told me no, told me you can't do it and it's impossible. Some of them, I don't want to name people, but like some of them are quite senior people with a lot of stamps on their on their CVs and logos. So a lot of rejections early on. And one thing that I can tell you, like starting a startup is very tough. It's really, really difficult. And if you wanna start a startup or a project, especially if it's really ambitious, you need to have a very good reason and like an internal compass that is like driving you, because most of the times it's gonna be tough, and most of the time it's gonna be problems, and most of people will tell you no. And a lot of investors will also turn you down.
Yeah, and like you had a lot of investors, a lot of types of investors. Did you start with angel investors, VC rounds? How was it? Like, how was the process overall? Because I know it's not linear. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
yeah, maybe we could go back to the story that you were sharing, and then I'm sure he's gonna come at the point where he's gonna start talking about the angels. But thank you for the enthusiasm. Really love it. Love the energy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amr. So you applied to YC with Abdullah, and what
Yeah.
happened? You met with Tom. So 10 minutes was with Tom.
Yeah, I did. I met with Tom Bloomfield and Brad Flora, another amazing partner at Y Combinator. He's learned so much from both of them. Yeah, and they asked us the question. It was very quick, like, "Hey, how you doing? So, what you building?" Like right away, you know. And you do it very sharp and tell them what you're building. So we told them what we're doing. We told them about the idea. It was interesting. They were like, "Actually, why do you think this could work?" He was like, I at Monzo tried to do something similar, but like I didn't manage to do it. Why I think you guys will manage to do it? And I answered his question. He's like, actually, this might work. So that was really cool, like to get that reaction. And then Alhamdulillah, we got accepted. In YC, you know, there is demo day at the end of the batch, and demo day, and why I'm going to demo day, because that will answer the fundraising journey. So demo day is when you actually work very hard during the batch of YC. You learn a lot of lessons. So you attend seminars. Our batch was S22, so we were the first half in person, half remote batch, because it was after COVID. So you do these sessions and you're putting your goals and you meet with the partners, you ask questions, and you're building on developing your business, right? And then at demo day, you have the chance to really pitch in front of a lot of investors. So you can pitch your idea, and demo day is when you are able to raise your funds. Now, I personally didn't.
Amer, when you have time, I have a question.
I think maybe just for the sake of the ease of the conversation, I noticed that maybe it's best for us to keep the questions till the end. We'll open the floor for the last 15 minutes. Everyone could ask their questions, okay? Because yeah, sorry, Amr, go ahead.
No worries at all. No worries at all. And we can and if you want, actually, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, and then I'll try to pick them up. And if it makes sense in the story, if you want, I'll just integrate and answer them. So going back to demo day and YC. I personally did not optimize for investors. So I didn't have like a specific investor in mind. My goal was, I need this amount of money to achieve these milestones. So I'm gonna go and raise them as fast as I can, because fundraising is very distractive from building actually your company, like working and being focused, especially if you are the CEO of the company who usually does the fundraising. So I'm gonna try to get, you know, this goal. I will not optimize, you know, as long as they're like reasonable, you know, repeatable people. Nothing is like raising any questions. I'll just get the money and I'll get back to work. That was my philosophy. So I was like, great, if angels come and they want to give me money, and if it's even all angels, you know what? Why not? I'm just gonna go raise the funds that I need and then get back to work. So back then we were raising 4 million. That was the seed round. And that's what I did. So even before demo day, my email, because we launched on YC, so people heard about us, started like asking us questions, and they wanted to talk to us. So I really just scheduled calls to just talk with the people, and I had very clear goal. And then I started talk to people. The first ones were actually, angels that said they would want to give checks, and they started committing. I had prepared myself with the legal counsel also just to be ready, so I don't waste time. So like staying on top of things. And then I started accepting the safe notes. I don't know if you're familiar with that instrument, but it's basically a very well-known financing instrument for early stage startups. There was a good template for it. We didn't want to deviate from market standard and best practice. So we're really following just best practice. Make things easy, make things simplified. So started with the angel investments. They came in, then larger VC started reaching out. And I started accepting, the offers, and then Sequoia Capital reached out to us to chat. We chatted with them, and things moved very quickly. They were very, very quick. They asked us a lot of tough questions. Then I met with them in person in London. They got really excited about the vision and the mission. We work with a wonderful partner, George Robson, who is ex-Revolut, the company. It's quite a successful fintech in Europe. And he was like, this is great. This is very exciting. We want to be your partner on the journey. They were very thoughtful, actually, in the way they dealt with the whole conversation. We liked that. We appreciated that. So
Amer, can I zoom in here a little bit on the investor relations component? When you're, in this case, Sequoia reached out to you guys.
Yeah.
In most cases, the startups, they reach out to the VCs, whether it's this way or the other way. How do you typically manage the relationship with the investors as a founder? So what are some secrets that you could share on how you build the relationships with Sequoia or with other investors as well?
Yeah, I think one is really being transparent, and also requesting that, both you respect their time and they respect your time also. Tell them where you want to go, what you're trying to do. If you have, any traction milestones that you had or why you're exciting, try to be like just very straightforward and concise and to the point, and share these points with them, right? Because they receive so much, right? So almost everyone want to talk with them. So just try to be very, very transparent, very good in the sense of how you're sharing your information. Get to the point that you want, have a very clear ask. Also try to talk to decision makers, right? So like identify who can actually say a yes for you or not, and get there. The best approach always also is to get a warm intro to you, right? So if someone they know they invested in or they trust, right, and is making that intro, it is good to have that one in place. And just like learn what do they care about, why, what kind of companies they invest in, what they are looking for, and then see if there is alignment between you and them. So like if you're doing like a specific, let's say, niche product in a niche market, find out which VCs actually are excited about that vertical, right? Or they are investing heavily in that one. So you can go and talk to them. That's how I usually approach it. You're right. We got very lucky in the sense of, there was interest and there was YC, so people wanted to reach out to us, and that helped us create the momentum also. So maybe I genuinely do think we got really lucky with our investors in general. So that's how I would approach it.
That's awesome. So you were saying about you met with Rob and you got the investors. Now you have the capital, you wanted to scale the company, and you said at the beginning that you need money to build the team. So how did you start building this team that is insane? If I may throw in this word, I had to. It's insane team.
We have insane, incredible, a lot of ends. I think the team is stretching it. So we raised the seed round, and we were like, okay, great. Now we go back to work. We actually never shared that we raised the seed round when we did. So we're like, okay, this is done. Let's go and actually build a product that our customers would want. We had done a lot of user research, talking to customers, which is something, YC would drill in you also, like talk to users, build, right? That's what the whole, if I am to summarize YC for you guys, it's talk to your users, build fast and launch fast and go back and talk to your users and keep that cycle until you find product market fit. So we've done a lot of that, and we got a sense of, you know, what we want to do, how we want to build it. Fintech takes time, particularly if you want to establish banking relationship, right, with financial institutions. They definitely don't move at startup speed. They're very slow. Regulated industries in general takes a long time. So there was a lot of that, you know, work. We also, which I'm gonna answer, you know, probably answer some of the questions. Is what is different about NSAVE, right? We wanted to rethink how banking infrastructure should look like today. So when you think about like a core banking engine, the compliance aspect, how can you leverage technology to be compliant and build that stack? So we wanted to build all of that internally. So we were spending a lot of time on it. Started hiring people. We wanted to, everyone who joins us, we wanted them to raise the bar. For us, that was kind of the initial parameter. And Abdullah is very, very strong. And early on, it was largely technical hires. So people who are engineers. So I told you a bit about Abdullah's background. So he has a very high standard. So everyone we're interviewing, we're really not compromising on that aspect. We also decided to be a fully in-person company. So that was another aspect. We wanted everyone to be, you know, in the same room, working together. That collaboration aspect was super important. And we wanted also to have fun while we do it. So that's one piece we wanted. And finally, and also, you know, as importantly, the culture fit on the values. So I'm screening for it. And we tried to move very fast. We didn't want to be, you know, slow in hiring. I remember very well, we hired our lead engineer today. She's incredible, Clara. I found her on work at a startup. Like the YC has a platform for people who want to apply for startups. So she had put her, I was looking actively. She had put her application on that day. I found it an amazing profile. I showed to Abdullah. I messaged her. She responded to me like in 2 hours. I was like, can you grab a coffee today? She was like, sure. Go out, meet her, do my culture assessment. I was like, she's great. I go to Abdullah. You need to talk to her. Abdullah, go spend time, talk to her, interview, do the assessment. His IGAC is like, this feels right. We should send an offer, right? So we send it. So we send it very quickly, right? And get it. Sometimes it's that intense that quickly, you see it. Sometimes you're building a relationship with someone that you met that you think they are a good fit. Like our head of operations, for example, I had met him 8 months before he joined NSAVE. So kind of that relationship was, you know, developing, and I just wanted to make sure it's the right time to you know, to have him in. And then he was so excited about the mission. All he could think of, talk about is like the mission of the company, why we should exist, how big this could go, our users, our customers. So he was really obsessed with that aspect, and I loved it. So when we needed, you know, operations people, when we really, just as we were getting live with customers, he joined. And then keep filtering, and then what you do is you're selecting people that care about the same things. So even when the selection committee of people who are interviewing now, they're growing, and you start to formalize more processes as a company, as you grow, everyone is aligned on the mission, everyone is aligned on that culture, so they are assessing for it and they're watching for it, right? So you get to do it. So that's how we kind of approached hiring and how we approach it today. And to be honest with you, now in most of my interviews, I try to convince people why they shouldn't join us. So I'll try to just warn them, like, look, we are very hardworking. The expectations are very high. We have a lot of responsibility as well, like, you know, towards our customers and what we do, right? And the impact, both systemic impact on fixing, you know, how exclusionary the financial system can be. So we want to fix that one, but also our duty towards our customers who are trusting us with their money, trusting us, you know, to support them and enable them for payments and accounts and so on. So like that aspect is there. So I'm trying, like, why do you want to join and why you think you're a good fit? And are you willing to go above and beyond to build a legendary company? Because that's what we want to do. And that's personally my philosophy. Like I've always been the kind of person who, if I want to go and do something, I'm just gonna try and excel at it. So I'm pursuing the excellence in that piece. And I want people that would value that one. They're not just joining for a 9-to-5 or, you know, joining for a cool Sequoia backed startup. There are a lot of them. So not this one probably. is the good fit. So that's how I've been approaching it. Long story short, what happened is when you build a product that actually solves a real problem, that actually cares about the users would like it. And then when you launch it, you would grow. You grow and people sign up, and then you start to have good problems of how are you going to scale and manage the growth. And that would happen with us. So March last year, end of March last year, in April, we launched, we became live, we started offering the accounts, and we got our authorizations to one to hold public deposits on Swiss sites. In the UK, we had all the banking partnerships and so on. So we launched, and then we started growing madly post-launch. Our investors got really excited on the growth. So a few months out of launch, just my investors started really asking me, "This is looking great. You need more capital. Should we take the business to the next step?" And really, just that conversation in a way preempted our Series A internally. And then
congratulations for the Series A, by the way.
Thank you so much. So you might have seen the announcement with Bloomberg, 10th of January, so about 18 days ago. We did raise our Series A, and the Series A was really now, we've validated that this is a real problem. We've built the MVP, successful, have a lot of users signing up. We want to go and build, a legendary company, and we want to take it to the next level. So that's kind of our vision for the future for the company. And I'm just very grateful. Like the investors that we managed to choose in the seed round, they see the vision, they see the mission, they see the value of what we do and the alignment. So they doubled down on us. So I'm lucky in the sense of I didn't have to go outside and talk to other investors or do that piece. It was largely fully, actually, almost fully the same existing investors, whether it's TQ Ventures, were amazing guys, Sequoia Capital, Y Combinator, Ace Ventures as well, and Proton. They just they doubled down on us, and then we ended up raising the Series A. And again, we raised the Series A, we didn't announce it, we went back to work. And maybe to share a little bit about our product today for people who might be wondering. So what we offer something very simple. It's an account abroad in multi-currencies. It's dollar, euro, pounds. You can receive payments, you can send payments. It comes with a debit card that we can ship to our users. There's also a virtual card in the app. That was the initial MVP. Very quickly, we started to see, deposits grow, people putting up with us, good chunks start putting their salaries in, which was amazing. But also we noticed requests from our users, how they can also grow their money. So we solved the first problem for them of help me keep my money somewhere safe, in a safer place, in a safer currency, in a safer jurisdiction, protected, safeguarded there, because those are the rules that we follow, safeguarding rules for customers' assets. So they were there, and then they're asking, how can I grow my money? Which for us was, me and Abdullah were so excited because that was our thesis initially. Like, we're gonna help people in the future. First, let's help them protect their money, and then let's help them grow their money. And we saw it happen so quickly. We didn't expect it to happen actually that quickly. So we got very excited. We said, you know what? We see the behavior. We see people starting to ask about investment products. We see the users actually started to open brokerage accounts and somehow move their funds to buy stocks. We thought we should really quickly just bring that offering also to the platform. So we, in honestly record speed, got expanded our offering to also offer investment. So today, not only you get the accounts and the payments aspect, but also you can access US equities and ETFs. So if you want to buy a share in Tesla and you live, I don't know, in Cairo, why shouldn't you do it? You should be able to do that if you want. Should be able to participate in the global economy. You should be able to grow your funds. Not saying that go and buy app. That's not a recommendation. The legal disclaimer. I'm not recommending.
Amer, a quick question. You said at the beginning when you wanted to open a bank account in Switzerland, there was this $1 million capital requirement for you to be able to do it. Now with NSAVE, this doesn't exist. Why? How? What happened?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Yeah, so you mentioned at the beginning of the chat that when you wanted to open a bank account before you went to university, it was in Switzerland. You needed to do it with $1 million as a capital requirement to safeguard your money. How can we do it with much less than $1 million through NSAVE? Why? How can we do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So what you're talking about is really old legacy, banking infrastructure. So without naming, for example, a certain financial institutions, they still have like paperwork, right? They need to sign on stuff. You need to sign with ink, stamp it, ship it to them. Actually, you need to send your passport also by mail in certain cases and wait for it. It takes a very long process. Certain financial institutions had very old policies and old systems. So they had things like 6 eyes policies on transactions. So imagine this: if a customer instructs a transaction, 3 people need to see it and approve it manually. I mean, for me, this is just insane, right? There are just so many improved systems that you can use, not cutting edge like NSAVE, even if you want to do like something in the middle. So one piece is those core banking infrastructures are very old and outdated. The private banking model has been working well, right? They have one very wealthy individual, brings a lot of assets. Yeah, fine. They can lift the call and ask for a transaction and 3 people can see it. That's no problem. But we wanted really to do scale. So we optimized all of that aspect, particularly the compliance layer of how we do it, how we scrutinize this, how we also make the onboarding journey very seamless, very frictionless. So that's one aspect of the tech that we use. Also that, today the tech matured to enable that piece. Also, as importantly, the regulatory framework also got improved very recently in Switzerland. So to give you an example, almost up until 2019, 2020, it wouldn't have been possible to open a bank account remotely or like digitally. You needed to send the documents or fly there and do it, or jump on a Skype call and do a whole record thing. So the regulator also was modernizing. So they introduced new regulations, the new licenses, and a new framework. So we also take advantage of that. That was really, for us, that was also the why now aspect. Regulatory frameworks are developing. Technology can solve a lot of the questions around compliance. So let's build on top of that and enable it. That's how we solve. But without going into too much details, because I can spend 2 hours talking on compliance aspects of all. Yeah. So that's where kind of we are now. I'm seeing some of the questions in the chat, so I'll try to answer them. I'll start with the Syrian question. It's very tough. Obviously, sanctions make it very difficult. As much as I want to be able to solve that problem, and I will be working on solving it. I am kind of approaching how we can do it in a compliant manner, and I think we will get there at some point. So bear with us. I do care a lot. I want to fix that one. Why we have chosen to be based in London, not San Francisco, for example, proximity to Switzerland. So we're based in Geneva and London as a company. I think if we didn't have a very good reason to be here, particularly regulatory and compliance aspect of the regulations, I probably would have taken the team to San Francisco, to be honest, just given the ambition of what we're trying to do. I think, especially if you want to build in tech or AI today, I think the Bay Area is the place to be. So I would have, I have a good reason to be here. The questions they asked about what pushed them to invest in our company. That's a great question. What I understood is good VCs, they are trying to assess why the founders, especially early stage, why the founders are the right people to solve this problem. That's what they're trying to assess. So not only they're looking at the technical capability, let's say, or how far this individual has come, where did they start, and how far they went with the limited resources that they had, is a good indication of, of how someone is willing to go through hurdles and difficult situations, but also do they have, in a way, a chip on their shoulder? Do they resonate with the problem? Do they understand the problem very dearly? Do they care really about it? So a lot of the conversations were about this. It was really about frank, genuine conversations of getting to know the founders, getting to know the CEO, getting to know the team, what is making them tick, and why do they think they are the right people to fix it. So those were largely the questions for us, especially early on when we were just coming with an idea, right? Trying to convince people, hey, we have this crazy idea, support us and believe in us and give us money to go and build it. That was the most, the major aspect of it, I would say.
Hey, go ahead, Amer, sorry.
I'm going through the questions. I think the challenges we did face during the fundraising process and how did we overcome them to secure investor confidence. Man, fundraising is tough. It's really not easy. Because also, not only you're working and you're building things and you're solving problems, but also you need to come and jump on calls and, excite people, tell them about your journey, why what you're solving is actually an important problem, that they should care about it. So you need to really explain it, and you need to also like get their buy-in on the journey. So you need to come with that enthusiasm and keep doing it a lot. So it's tough. I definitely say whoever is gonna fundraise, prepare yourself. My best advice is let your family know that you're gonna like go through fundraising. So they need to be supportive, and your team. So if you can delegate certain aspects that are crucial for your business, you need to make sure that your co-founder or whoever is on your team is like able to support you through that process. Yeah, but you gotta believe in what you're doing. Like if you genuinely actually believe in what you're doing, that's how you will push through, and that's how you will not care about the problems that you're gonna face. Have we considered offering services that cater to savings and consequently help in improving customer financial wellness and literacy? Yes, we are. We always need to be very careful and mindful of the regulations and our customers' interests. But we offer U.S. equities now and ETFs. It's very simple, straightforward investment products for people. So that's where we're shifting. And over time, I think it's just gonna improve more and more. We have a very cool project for education on investing that is coming soon. So stay tuned for that one. Talking more about how we help customers grow financially. We basically, our offering, as I mentioned, has two aspects. I want to help people first protect what they've had in terms of savings or earnings, particularly if they have mainly two problems, our customers. They come, by the way, today from Argentina to Bangladesh to Lebanon to Egypt to a bunch of other countries. So largely what they have is local currency is losing value, is devaluating, so they can't save in the local currency. If they want to save in a hard currency, they have the restrictions locally that come with it, or the instability or the fear that something's going to happen and they don't have the security because of the economic situation or political or geopolitical or war or whatever. So we first want to help them make sure that it is in a safer currency, like dollar, euro, pounds, and it's in a way much more stable place like Switzerland or the UK. That's step number one. So you're protecting the value there in sense of that. And then the second one is, okay, now it's protected. How can we help them grow it? So we think about very simple, thoughtful investment offerings that we can extend. And we launched initially with the US stocks. And as we grow, we will just increase those offerings there.
I think there was a question that you missed, which was by Dana.
Sorry about that.
You mentioned how important it was to have aligned values with investors. On what basis did you evaluate if the investors that you worked with were a good fit?
Yeah, I was asking them questions. Why do they think this is exciting? And try to, get to the bottom of it. And also I asked for references on the founders that they invested in and they worked with, to also, have a chat with these founders and ask about that relationship. So that's, for me, was very important. And I'm very happy with the decisions that we've done.
So as much as they're choosing you, you are choosing them as well.
100%. And look, to be honest, also, like as a founder, it depends on your situation. For us, we were lucky to be able to choose also. So I was doing the assessment and I had the, the privilege of saying maybe no to a certain investor and just, say, I think there's alignment here. and go with them. Obviously, if you don't have that option or the ability to choose, then your options are limited. But then still really try to not just take money for the sake of money without that assessment. Like, yes, you need to raise your funds, but like do your sense check, because your investors are they're gonna be with you. They're not going anywhere. I was joking the other day with one of our investors, and I was saying to them, I was like, choosing an investor is more difficult than choosing a wife or a husband, because even in marriage, if it doesn't work out, at least like there's a way to part ways. With an investor, that's not gonna happen, right? You can't do it. So very, 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 very important. Tips to get accepted at Y Combinator based on research. I have 1% chance to get in. It is very selective. Honestly, it's very, very selective. The tip is being incredibly sharp and concise is the thing to do. And get your points across very, very quickly, because they see thousands of applications. So you need to be very sharp. You need to be able to really explain what you do very, very quickly, very, very concisely, like one-liner. Need to help them know what you're building, what's the product that you're solving for, and then very clearly crystallize the problem, how big it is, straightforward, and then go to your traction, what you're doing, why you're the right founders or the team to go and solve the problem. So but for me, it was really like that sharpness and quickness, and you see it in their type of interview, right? It's 10 minutes. I mean, how much can you say in 10 minutes, right? You need to be straight to the point. Prepare yourself and practice, and don't lose faith. Just keep doing it. I have one question for entrepreneurs in less stable economies. What advice would you give to make their startups attractive to global investors? I mean, honestly, there are so many new unicorns coming from emerging markets. Like we have a lot of, it doesn't sound so good, but we have a lot of problems to fix, and some of them are really big problems, right? So like, choose a worthy problem that you think you're the right person to solve, and go and try to solve it, and you will get world-class investors interested and investing in you. That's how I would approach it. Yeah. How would I suggest a startup based in Lebanon be able to expand globally or in the MENA region, in specific regarding finances? So that is, we need to take that convo off of the call, because it's going to be a very long answer. Always, it depends. It depends on what kind of product. It depends of where exactly, how you're offering it. It's very complicated. Expansion for regulated industries, very, very complicated. I wished I had a better answer. I'm very sorry. First issue is about where I want to store my money. Why choose NSAVE considering it's technically still a startup? What is a new few years NSAVE goes bankrupt? Yeah, those are very, very good questions. So good thing is, when you actually build your business in a very strong regulatory framework, the laws are there to protect consumers. So we fall under very, very good regulation called the safeguarding regulations. So how banks, basically, when they take your deposits, they don't keep them there. They invest part of it, they lend part of it, they bring insurance, and they're like, I can insure it up to this amount, but basically your funds are not sitting there, right? The institution is doing stuff with it, with a lending, investment, and so on. And then they have rules to follow. So we are not allowed to do this, and we don't do it. Anyway, because we fall under this called safeguarding regulations. This means the whole deposits that we accept are 100% kept in what is called the safeguarded account. Under these safeguarding rules, you can actually read about them online or find them on the disclaimers of our website. Those are regulations we fall under, that in an unlikely event or a scenario where the company needs to shut down, actually there is a process to return the funds to the people, and the deposits are completely separated in these safeguarded accounts. So that's from protection, which is really, really good to protect people's money. And it's really at the heart of what we do. Do we have the choice between UK and Switzerland? Not yet, but maybe in the future. Today, we help make that decision for you. But honestly, you're talking about some of the most stable economies as well in the world. Wanted to ask if there was a specific moment even that pushed your decision to become an entrepreneur. Also, what would you say is the most important thing to focus on when pitching to investors? I honestly never thought I would be an entrepreneur. That was not something I've planned. Initially, it was I needed just to survive and figure out a way to survive. Actually, I find it very difficult to get a job. Also, I kind of hired myself, if you will. So that's I think I always say I stumbled into it. It wasn't by choice, but then I loved it. Because I love problem solving. If you put a problem for me, I'll figure out a way to to solve the problem. So that's one piece. What did I say the most important thing to focus on when pitching to investors? I think it depends. Investors want to know a range of things when they're meeting you. I'm also assuming this is really early stage. So one, I think your story, why you're the right person to solve this problem, is very important aspect. I think the good investors are looking for that. So I would start with that one as the most important one. And then how obviously they're investors, right? So they want to make returns on their investment. So one aspect would be when you go to the problem itself, how large is the problem? How big is the market that you're trying to solve? Can this actually be a venture-backed business that is big and can grow? That is another aspect. And finally, which is usually the best thing, if you've already piloted an MVP and you have good traction, so also demonstrate that one for them. Some people start with that one as well with investors, and I think that might make sense in certain cases as well. So those what I would think of. Is our platform compatible with Revolut? Can I send and receive money from Revolut? Yes, you can. You actually with NSAVE you access a lot of payment rails. You access faster payments in the UK, SEPA in Europe for Euro, SWIFT. Soon you will have ACH as well. So you can basically access global payment rails. You can also receive globally. We have a new feature. You can receive globally in 2 seconds. Send someone a link, they pay you the money, you get it in 2 seconds. It's beautiful. The bank accounts you open through NSAVE can be linked to Stripe and PayPal. It depends. Customer support can help you do this. but
I
yes,
can jump in to that. I could answer if you want.
Oh, we have someone from NSAVE on the call.
Yeah, that's Yusuf. Hi, Yusuf.
Hi, how are you, Rida?
Awesome.
Yeah, so I won't take much of you guys' time. Yeah, regarding the Stripe and PayPal, at the moment with PayPal, if it's local PayPal, let's say Lebanon, we don't have that link directly, but in the very near future, we would have something to link PayPal. It's just the routing number is missing, and in the future, like the USD NSAVE USD account on NSAVE would support linking PayPal directly. But you can still, if you have access to a PayPal that has access to banking in general, because not all PayPal have access to banking, then you can do it definitely. And with Stripe, you can do it in the sense of if you need to, let's say, move your earnings into NSAVE, that's something completely doable on Stripe. So not NSAVE as a payment gateway, but NSAVE as a place to store your savings and essentially grow it, just like Amer was saying.
I love it. Customer support on the call. My investors exit strategy. Good question. I guess time will tell what exactly is their exit strategy. But what I can tell you is, if they didn't believe that this could be a really, really big business, and they've seen the success and how solid the team is, they wouldn't have invested and see that the opportunity will grow massively, because VC is looking for very high returns, right? So they're looking for that one. I think it would be very cool to take a company IPO. I hope I'll get the chance to do it. Maybe staying private. I don't know. But we'll see. What advice would I give entrepreneurs about preparing financial projections and company valuations? Seed stage, don't waste too much more time on it, to be honest. I mean, if you're just really still idea, I wouldn't waste too much time on like forecast and very long-term projections. Have a good understanding of how this could go, but I wouldn't necessarily, you know, focus on building complicated business models for pre-seed stage, for instance. If it's much later stages, then you really need to know what you're doing. You need to have a plan, you know, moving forward. If you're going to raise a Series A, okay, why are you raising the funds? How are you going to go? Where are you going to take the business, and why? Valuation thing is there's like market benchmarks, so usually, you know, you would use that one to help assess that decision. What are NSANE's risk measures in case of an economic crisis in USA similar to 2008? The safeguarding rules are here to protect from that aspect, because the funds are here. And in the sense of where we positioned ourselves and where we are, we really chose, you know, the best place in the world and some of the, you know, the most stable currencies, to be honest. Are we going to add alternatives and redundancies? We do. We work with multiple financial institutions that support us, so we have very good diversification also on that front. I love Jad is asking a lot of questions. I hope maybe it's the same Jad or not the same Jad. How much was solving regulation as a financial service part of launching your company? For example, working with Stripe, PayPal, Revolut, Local. Very big, very big. And it took a lot of time. That's why for everyone who's really thinking about starting a fintech or wants to, you know, be in financial industry, it takes a very long time, and it will take you a long time to launch an MVP even. And a result of that sometimes is it takes you a lot of capital as well, to keep in mind. Yeah, these ones I don't think I can help with. R&D, how much R&D we do. It's the final question. I'll take it, and then I'm going to be mindful of your time as well. We do a lot. We really care about, you know, how we improve our systems. We have a very cool AI integrations that we have internally that we use in our systems. So we do spend a bit of time, you know, to stay at the edge, because at the heart we're a tech company. More than half of our team actually is technical, is engineers basically. So we do a lot of that work. I'll pause here, Rida. I hope that was helpful and insightful, and I've answered everyone's questions.
I think it was amazing. I personally loved it. I'm sure everyone else did. Thank you so much, Amer, for your time today. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a couple of final questions. The first one is, if someone wants to connect with you, how can they find you? And the second question is, if someone wants to open an NSAVE account, what they should do? What should they do?
Amazing. If people want to connect, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm happy also to share my email. If I can help in any way, if you want to share it afterwards with the attendees, sure, we can do that as well. I'll share it with you on the connections. I hope I'll be helpful. How they can open it, very simple, honestly. You need a passport and the proof of your address wherever you live. So if you're in Beirut, it's your address there. You do your onboarding on the app, you download the app, you go through the process. Those are mainly the documents that you need to have. Your passport need to be valid. Your proof of address need to have your name, your address, and need to be 3 months old maximum, and then you should be good to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amer. Thanks everyone for attending. It was an amazing time. Amer, we'll stay in touch, okay? Take good care.
Thank you so much, everyone.
One last thing, the proof of address could be an IFEDIT second, just for localization. So you're good to go.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Yusuf. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Cheers. Bye.